Hey Void, how you doing? Fiddy Rizzo back to battle at you again. Well, now I've done it, I guess. Remember a week or two ago, I sat through that very long but very interesting Friday the 13th documentary. Yep, made me want to rewatch the series, so time to dust off the old collection and away we go. So, I'm not going to probably do them all straight. I've done that before, and I will say Friday does seem to have diminishing returns if you just gun it all in one sitting. But starting with part one, here we go. Now, I have a long history with Friday the 13th. Back, heck, when I was in middle school, my father was showing me various horror films because he knew I liked horror, and eventually Friday the 13th was one of the ones that naturally came up. Not sure if I saw this one before or after A Nightmare on Elm Street, but I know it was pretty early on. And I will say he had kind of this surround sound rigged up so that would just come from all over, and it really made it very atmospheric. Later on in high school, I did a film class, and one of the films actually up for discussion was Friday the 13th, and it's the one I wrote my final paper on for that one. So, yeah. Also, circa late 2010, no, early 2010s, I had a horror blog going where I just kind of scene by scene dissect movies and just kind of tease them a bit. And Friday the 13th again was one that I had done up. So, yeah, long history of talking about Friday the 13th. So, trying to figure out what else I can really say about it. Well, Friday the 13th, 1980, if I'm not mistaken. I actually don't have my little. I usually have my phone on hand to check random facts. I seem to have left it away from me right now, but shouldn't need it for this one. 1980. Friday the 13th. Well, it's the very basic story of a group of camp counselors that are trying to get a summer camp back up and running, despite it having had some problems in the past. From the drowning death of a boy several years ago, to the then murder of two counselors, which closed up the camp. After that, they tried to reopen it a couple times, but there were some fires, then the water went bad, everything possible. And now this time, well, there's a killer in the woods and doing what killers do. Now, from what I saw in the documentary, Friday the 13th originated just from the title of Friday the 13th. They had no idea what they're going to do with it, they just thought it sounded cool for a movie title. And pretty much away it went from there. So, somehow, despite the cultural zeitgeist around the movie, when I first saw the film, I didn't know the twist. I only knew Friday the 13th meant Jason Voorhees. So, I was actually honestly surprised at the twist in this one. And if you don't know the twist for Friday the 13th, that's really on you at this point. It's one of the original slasher films. I mean, this one's predated by Black Christmas and by Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's pretty much it. And this one I know took a few cues from Halloween, while Halloween had the killer just slowly, quietly stalking. This one you mostly just see him from the killer's perspective a lot more, often accompanied by the sound effect. I'm not sure if I'm doing that loud enough for the mic to pick up, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway. And well, the fact that the killer turns out to be Mrs. Voorhees was a bit of a shock for me the first time. And I will say Betsy Palmer's performance and voice for it are perfect. Just the way she talks. You can tell there's something just slightly off about her, and it works very well for this. Now, at the time, this movie was really praised for its gore effects and creativity of the kills. Now, all those gore effects do still hold up pretty well. I will say the kill creativity is only, well, it's pretty average, actually. There's nothing really over the top in Friday the 13th by today's standards. But by early 80s standards, there really wasn't anything like this, so this was really the precursor to a lot of the more crazy kills, and with Friday the 13th constantly having to up itself, that's pretty much where a lot of the escalation in slasher films came from. Okay. So, Friday the 13th. Now, there's one thing I picked apart in the one blog, where it's never really, I was always trying to figure out how the heck happened. And that's the scene where a very young Kevin Bacon has just finished having his sexy time and is laying back, relaxed on the bed, and gets an arrow shoved up through his throat. Probably one of the best special effect kills in the film. And they actually kind of showed how they did that in the documentary. Now, beforehand, and was it Ned, I want to say? Pretty sure it was Ned. I also just recently watched the second one, so some of the names for the characters are running together a little bit. But, so, Ned had already just wandered into that building and got killed. So, it's pretty much just a cabin where they went to escape the rain in order to have sexy time. Despite there being a dead body of their friend in the bunk pretty much right above them. Now, so the killer, Miss Voorhees, had to have already been in there because for what you can see, the door is very close to where they come in because when the girl leaves, she just pretty much goes straight out. So Miss Voorhees probably would have had to have already been in there to do that, to kill him. And does that mean she was under the bed the entire time for them to do that? How did she get there? And was she just being a creeper the whole time? Maybe. But, well, that's always something I've kind of wondered about this one, but minor nitpick. Even that, it's just something to think about. I mean, there's ways she probably did get there, but anyway. So, what makes the Friday the 13th kind of a standout is the characters, really. The modern day trope of having some unlikable characters that you're just waiting to get killed isn't here. All these people are likable. You don't want to see bad things happen to them, which is what makes it more of an effective movie. I mean, yeah, every once in a while, if you have a slasher movie with one killer that you're waiting for, that's fine. But too many ones are making the whole cast a little abrasive, and that kind of makes it a bit of a problem. You can't empathize with them. So, Friday the 13th really doesn't have that problem. Well, the effects are great. Then, if a little bit dated by now, then the ending jump scare, still one of the most effective jump scares out there. I mean, I will say House on Haunted Hill topped that one. No, not House on Haunted Hill, The Haunting of Hill House. Too many houses on hills. But otherwise, it's the first time I saw that. Whoa, that one got me. And Crazy Ralph being the perfect harbinger of doom in this. This movie does a lot right. That said, it's hard to give this one a perfect glowing review, because it is still very basic. So, I'm gonna give this one an 8 MacGuffins. It's good. It's very good. I don't know how I would actually go about improving it, but I think just on an enjoyment factor, it's definitely worth an 8 MacGuffins. considering it's a shoestring budget slasher film that really had no right to get as popular as it did, I still think that's a glowing review now. And now, to this day, I'm not sure if it's now nostalgia that makes these films still enjoyable, or if there really is something that just draws you to them, but there's something fun about these ones. Now, I'll be back with more Fridays soon enough, but I've got a couple of the films to get to first, so see you soon.